Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Sit Down by the Fire. We will be interviewing each other, but before we start, we have a few things that I would like to discuss. So you might have saw the video. Well, we're recording this the same day that the video is up, but this will premiere Friday. For my birthday, I got this puppet. And for those who don't know, the channel is named after my cat who passed away. And I'm usually like, I understand like animals pass away and everything, but like that cat's life was just kind of cut short because it was hit by a car and it was only like 2 years old.
Ouch.
So I don't know, like this specific cat is supposed to be maybe Junebug in spirit because that's the name of the company. But I would like maybe you guys to be involved in naming the specific mascot for the channel. You have until the first Wednesday in January, and I think that's plenty of time for everybody to name it and everything. You'll get credit for naming the mascot of the channel because eventually, like what Eric does, he does Let's Watch a Movie. I think I'm going to do it more like Mystery Science Theater meets Elvira with doing a movie where I kind of talk about the movie, make fun of it with said mascot, and eventually, basically kind of create, sort of a Muppet Walt Disney type show with it, where I can at least kind of build a brand and eventually then basically hopefully sell DVDs of the stuff with, and that's kind of the plan to kind of establish Junebug Films. So yeah, we're going to be interviewing each other, and Eric here decided he didn't look his beautiful self today, so I just wanted to at least show you guys that. So Eric, to make you feel better, I'm going to now turn my camera off.
Thank you.
Assuming it turns off now.
There we go.
Okay. So yes, we'll be interviewing each other. Eric, so now I think we each have 10 questions for each other. And so Eric, question number 0. What type of underwear are you wearing?
Rainbow. Taste the rainbow, everybody.
Okay, so there you go, folks. Eric likes to wear rainbow underwear. All right. In all seriousness, I'll just go first, Eric, and then you can, okay? So, you've often said that you have 3 favorite movies that you cannot choose between.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to choose for whatever reason, like let's say you have the gun to your head, what movie do you pick?
Oh, that's tough. Hard for me to choose either Jaws or The Lion King. To make myself clear, the original Lion King, not the 2019 one, but all my subscribers on my channel should already know that anyway.
I would hope so.
Screw it. I named my dog after the main character. I'm going to say it. I think I will go with the original Lion King.
Okay. Well, it is a very good movie,
Oh, definitely, yeah. And it's so powerful, and especially during the opening scene, there's not any dialogue, but yet you still know what is going on.
Yep, because you don't need sound to tell your story. It's definitely a really great movie. I think it made at least the top 50 for me. I don't know. I don't watch my old video. I don't watch my videos after they're out there. So, question number 2. What advice would you give to one of your followers if they wanted to say, what advice would you give them to basically if they told you they wanted to be a picture maker?
So I heard this in high school. The teacher and a lot of my other students at my high school, all of them were saying, "Oh, pursuing filmmaking is a fruitless endeavor because it's so unrealistic." But then, you know, life is too short, and you can fail at what you don't want, working at that safe job you don't care about. So you might as well just take a chance at doing what you love.
Exactly. I mean, dreams, if you have a dream, go do it. And if you find yourself not, I mean, this kind of leads into another question a little bit on me, so, but if you have a dream, even if you're not good at the dream, study your dream and become good at it. You know, because if it's your dream and you want it, go for it.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And not to sound arrogant, but I feel like I have the natural ability at entertaining people. Now, certainly, of course, I do understand that there's always room to improve, and I certainly do agree with that. But it's just, I say that because of whenever I would entertain people at karaoke, like just the responses that I got was, I guess to word it, it was a very overwhelming. Now, usually, whenever people use the word, they use it in a negative sense, but for me, it's not in the negative sense; it's in a positive sense.
Yeah, no. You do have a natural ability to entertain people, and your karaoke videos. I mean, like when you did "Be Prepared." Well, when Eric did "Be Prepared," he, would do all the voices of the hyenas and everything, and it's just so entertaining to hear that. So that's one thing I enjoy. But I'll enjoy watching
yeah,
it.
I am so sorry about that. Somebody knocked on my door, so
It's
yeah,
cool.
just to let you know, I only do have 45 minutes, and yeah, and so it should be no surprise as to why that I picked "Be Prepared" from The Lion King, because Lion King is my favorite movie. But yeah, so
Okay.
so I picked that song, and when I went on stage, I didn't have anybody like to do the part of the hyenas. So because of that, it was me doing Scar and also the hyenas, and just the fact that I'm able to bounce back within seconds of doing Scar and the hyenas.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and there was one time back when lockdown happened, when I went live in a quarantine karaoke Facebook group, 1,000 people at once were watching me sing "Be Prepared."
Yeah, you do have that natural ability. So, okay, so in the past 3 years, you've made films and everything, and have been quite successful in a matter of only 3 films. How are you feeling about all this success?
Well, I mean, the first movie opened up doors for me. The second one did as well, and even the third movie has already opened doors for me. Like, I have a shot with SAG now because of the third movie, and crap, like, where in the world is the fourth movie going to take me to? Like, even while filming the third movie, there was some random kid on a bike, never met him before, and then, he was all awestruck meeting me, and he was wanting my autograph.
Okay, yeah, no, that's exciting though. What? Okay, yeah, I mean it's exciting though. This is kind of a question that a lot of people point out sometimes. Do you believe that social media is good or bad?
I think it could be either one.
I think so too, because social media can be a good thing. I mean, like we would never have met through social media.
Yep, and Yep, and to think a lot of the people who I met, like even the 406 boys, never would have met them if it wasn't for social media.
Yeah, well, and but like with everything, I mean, you're always going to have bad apples, So just, um, I mean, anytime I have rotten food, I just throw it in the trash can. So,
Yep.
um, out of all your videos, which one are you the most proud of? Not to
That's
sound like
tough.
not to pick like your favorite video, but like the one you're most proud of.
Well, I'm definitely very proud of the original Money Tree episode, even though, yeah, the lighting in the beginning was utter shit. But hey, I was 16 years old, and I didn't have the best equipment when I was 16. But despite the shitty editing, I am pretty proud of episode 7. And if this counts, I'm also proud of Rise of the JWs.
Yeah, no, I mean, you should be proud of all your videos, but like we always have that one video, like, yeah, I think I'm quite proud of that one. I mean, honestly, for me, probably on my channel, I'm probably most proud of one of them we did recently. I'm really proud of the Lynn Lugosi interview, honestly. So,
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, and that's something that I'm proud of too. Like I'm proud of the Sarah Karloff interview, and I am also proud of the Lynn Lugosi one.
yeah, well, I'm not as proud as the Sarah Coliff. I'm honored to talk to her, but like more so just the tech problems is what I'm not proud of. We are our biggest critic, so
But yeah, I mean, we made it work though. I mean,
yeah.
especially considering that we even got to talk to her, and
Mhm.
she was somebody who I've known about my whole entire life, and here she is right in front of me. So
Right. What advice would you give to YouTubers and somebody I honestly would call you a legacy YouTuber because you've been on YouTube for what, 15 years?
yep.
So you were pretty much there right at the beginning, somewhat. What advice would you give to YouTubers maybe just starting out right now?
Well, just like with Boris Karloff got his. I mean, he was acting for like 10 years, but he didn't get his big break till he was in his 40s. So, even though you're not one of the old time YouTubers, but there's an old time saying it's not too late.
Yep, there you go. I mean, well said. I don't really have anything to add, honestly. We kind of talked about this a little bit, and I kind of teased this one. So, what are your thoughts about this new philosophy about don't follow your dreams, find what you're good at and do that instead?
Well, I guess that's interesting. I mean, for me, my dreams are filmmaking and clearly something that I am good at. But if it's something that you truly want to do, then work as hard as possible for it.
Yeah, well, and then even if you don't start out good at it, if you truly want to do something like that, like if you want to be the next Tom Brady and you're not good at football and you're like 5 years old, become good at football, like, I mean, I'm pretty sure Michael Jordan at 5 years old lost a few games, but look at where Michael Jordan and Tom Brady are now, even though I'm not really the biggest Tom Brady fan, but Michael Jordan and all those guys, and even some of the other people, I'm pretty sure that they did not start out that great. I mean, even Walt Disney had to learn to draw.
Yeah, and I mean, heck, even with some of my early videos, I do cringe at them.
Right. But
And to be honest, I even cringe at the first movie that I made.
Yeah, no, And an interesting shift for the next question. You've often been very critical of disability insurance on how it forces you to live in poverty. Why
Yep.
don't you kind of explain upon that? Like, how does it do that?
So, like, basically, disability insurance says, oh, you have a disability? Oh, well, therefore, you don't need to make a whole lot of money. Like, pretty much, it just disregards people with disabilities. Like, saying, oh, you can't go do all these things with your life because you have a disability. It's like, that's not an excuse. Like, how are they getting away with that? It's because that is discrimination.
Thank you, Uncle Sam. um, so, I mean, that's all I have to add because, like, I agree with you. I mean, it's just
It's horseshit.
yeah, no, I mean, and that's a great thing that I love about Eric is, Eric is a fighter.
Oh, I am 100%
Yeah,
like,
and so when he has enough clout, he can. I could see Eric speaking to. I'm gonna be bold here, Eric. I could see you speaking up against it with Congress.
oh, absolutely, yeah. And that's one of the reasons why that I'm so gung-ho about getting into SAG, It's not just so that I can live my dreams, but it's also so that I can get more clout
And speak and be a mainly just show be. Listen, this is just our web show. If Eric can elaborate here if he feels the need to, but one of the things that we need, and not in the country of the United States, but the world, we need more actual leaders with balls, and that does not mean what you have between your legs. And I would say that Eric has some pretty big balls.
yeah. I mean, heck, I reached out to Jim Carrey and I got an autograph from him, and I also had guts to reach out to agents of all these famous people. I was told no multiple times, but then finally somebody told me yes.
Exactly. Kind of going on a note here. You've been very open on your channel also about your depression.
Yep.
What advice now? Before I specify, this is just. I think Eric can kind of. I'm not dogging anybody who does something like this, but this is just how I feel about it, and I've told people about it. So, but what is your advice? For if you're thinking about doing something stupid, because we all have
Like suicide, right?
yeah. Now, suicide itself, it's just stupid to do it. But if you're in that mood, like I get it, but
Yeah.
you have a better life. You have a better life. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. What is your advice to, somebody thinking that way? If they came to you, knowing your history, and they're saying, "Hey, I've been thinking about harming myself."
Yeah. So when I was dating my ex, I was I was trying to pursue paleontology at that time because I also do love dinosaurs, have my whole entire life, and so at one point I gave up on filmmaking because the whole thing about how it's unrealistic and all that, and so I took mineralogy in college. It was a really tough course, a 400 level course, and it was very chemistry heavy, and I found out the hard way that I really suck at math. And I remember feeling really depressed because Albertsons was treating me like shit at that time. My relationship with my ex was falling apart, and then I failed mineralogy, so I got suicidal. I actually tried to do it, but my dog saved my life, and I was at the psych ward. I was there until Christmas Day, which is a really depressing place to be at on at around the holiday season. And And then I felt like I had no purpose in life, and then I met a friend of mine named Vanessa. I made friends with Vanessa because she's a paleontologist, and I know of her because she used to be married to Jack Horner, and then so she was being blunt with me. She was like, "Eric, I think you would be a lot better at filmmaking than you would be at paleontology." I thought about it really hard, and then I realized that she was right. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to give filmmaking a second chance. And I gave it a second chance, and look at where I'm at now. I now have a shot with SAG. And so, this right here is proof there is light at the end of that
Yeah, I
tunnel.
mean,
And just to imagine, if I did commit suicide, I would have missed out on the Jim Carrey autograph. I would have missed out on SAG.
doing this web show because we would probably not talk to Sarah Karloff, Lynn Lugosi, possibly the others that we're maybe talking to.
Yeah, but regardless, I would have missed out on so much.
Yeah, and I mean, for anybody who ever thinks like that, I mean, listen, I mean, there is no shame in, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, like I might seem like Mr. Tough Guy, sometimes resilient and everything, but I have depression just like everybody. But what helps me is like if I'm feeling depressed, like I'll force myself to go outside, maybe go on a walk, or even if I, maybe count my cash or something, and maybe go to Sonic or something, and go out and just take my mind off of whatever is making me depressed. Because those, I heard the the advice in Zombieland that I love. You got to enjoy the little things. So.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And so, man, I would have missed out. I would have missed out on the Matthew Lillard autograph, the Tobin Bell autograph, Karloff, Rosie, Judy Fox. I would have missed out on so much.
Yeah. Okay. Well, on a lighter note with this question, you've been with a lot of women. What is your secret, Mr. Bond?
So, when I was in middle school and in high school, you know how they used to have like those forward text messages?
Yeah.
So what I used to do at that age was that I used to make these fake forward messages to all these girls. And, it would say, "Oh, if you had the chance to date me, would you?" And then, if you and I were in a room together, what would we do? And that was my main strategy I had while forgetting all these girls when I was younger. And then of course, those forward messages stopped being popular after high school. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna have to come up with other ways now.
Yeah. What else did you do?
I used to not smile in my pictures on Facebook, but then I finally gave in to peer pressure and I did. And oh man, when I did, my Facebook exploded with all these girls messaging me and adding me. There were girls who said they wanted to have sex with me, like just because of my smile. I'm like, wow. I'm like, so I guess one advice, you just gotta smile.
Okay. All right there. So your turn.
What are your thoughts on the public domain all in all?
I think overall it's a good thing because in some ways it keeps maybe characters that maybe have kind of forgotten about. it could keep them relevant.
Yeah, like say what you want about Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Say what you want about the quality, but at least it made Winnie the Pooh relevant again.
Yeah, well, as far as Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, like it's more like I can't. I mean, hey, Craig, I love you. If you happen to watch this, you're always welcome to come back on Sit Down by the Fire. But say what you want about it. I mean, what, $15,000? I know they got then they got a budget just because of the marketing, but I mean, at least they made up a lot of money off of it. So
they did, like, for a budget of like $100,000, it made $5 million.
Yeah. So, and usually films, keep in mind, folks, have to double or triple its box office, and so
It
yeah,
did.
they made a hit. So, I'm just I just more congratulate them because I rewatched Blood and Honey for Halloween because it's on Peacock, I believe, right?
Yes, it is.
I rewatched it. I've seen a lot more. I've seen it's not that bad. I've seen a lot of movies that are far worse. I mean, for instance, I think the worst movie of all time is Manos, Hands of Fate.
Oh God, that movie's terrible.
Yeah, so at least it's no Manos, Hands of Fate. And if you guys want to hear my review of Manos, Hands of Fate, I can do it right now. Did I fall asleep? Oh man, the boring movie. Yeah, there's my review of Manos, Hands of Fate.
Yeah, and I had that movie as an episode of Let's Watch a Movie, and
yeah. The only Let's Watch a Movie, I might not comment because I just want to enjoy the movie with Let's Watch a Movie, but the only one, Eric, I did not watch because I just refused to watch that movie, and like but yeah, all right.
Okay, I can give my review of Manos, Hands of Fate. Hold up.
There you go. Junebug Film Special review.
Okay, there's an ad on YouTube. But yeah, so anyways.
I mean, you could have actually just flushed your toilet. Yeah, there's the review of Manos, Hands of Fate. I mean, it's still. Eric, sorry about that, folks. We're having a Naked Gun moment. Anyway, so yeah, I think overall public domain's a good thing because it could shed light on characters that you might not have heard of that are in the public domain. For instance, like, I would love to do some of the early vampire stories before Dracula. Like, there's Barney, the vampire.
Wait, there's a vampire called Barney?
Varney.
Oh, Varney. I thought you said Barney.
Yeah. No, it's Varney. It's about like I think it's a soldier like during the time of Napoleonic Wars that becomes a vampire. That's really cool. And then she's a little known, Carmela, but I would love to do like a story about Varney the vampire. Even around the time of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, there was a book that was written called The Vampire that was also part of the contest that people said, oh, let's tell a scary story. And even Mary Shelley, for instance, she wrote a book after Frankenstein, not as successful as Frankenstein, called The Last Man, and it's the last man. It's a kind of the Last Man on Earth type story, and obviously that's public domain. So I think it's a good thing because it could shed light on material that is yeah, and look at Night of the Living Dead. I mean, arguably because of its public domain status. Arguably, now there's no way of even telling how much it's made because it's public domain. It's probably one of the most successful films ever made.
Yeah, considering considering how much it costs to make the movie.
I'm gonna say this. There's no way of telling because it's public domain and they don't keep track of numbers of public domain. It could even be a technicality where it's probably made. It could even be beating Paranormal Activity. I don't know for sure.
Yeah,
but
we have no idea because it's public domain. So.
exactly. So if we're talking long term financially, I mean, it could be Night of the Living Dead could honestly be the most successful movie ever made, beating Avatar and everything, but just because of you can't keep track of its numbers because it's public domain. So
yeah, and there is endless amounts of DVD releases, and
yeah, so I think public domain's a good thing because I mean, eventually, Eric, things that piss me off will be public domain. So
yeah, and it will be a way to keep my legacy alive. And then in 4 years, the Karloff and Lugosi, Dracula, and Frankenstein movies will become public domain.
And then you put them on Let's Watch a Movie.
That would be an honor.
You almost have to do that, you almost have to make that a special event, for Let's Watch a Movie. You almost have to sit there and do that as a double feature live on your channel,
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think it would be an honor if we got an intro from Sarah Karloff or from Lynn Lugosi about it.
Yeah, that would be cool. So, anyway.
All right, my next question. Are you more of a Godzilla fan or a King Kong fan?
Okay, I do like both probably equally, but if I have a gun to my head, I'm probably going to have to say I really do like them both equally, honestly. So, but if I have a gun to my head, I think I'm probably going to have to say Godzilla, just because the original Gojira
It's a masterpiece.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and King Kong is up there. I mean, King Kong honestly is in my top 5, but Gojira, but that's more just because of its legacy status and it's a good movie and everything. But Gojira, if I'm judging both on their film, and Gojira is one of the greatest films ever made. I mean, I've honestly said that that's probably one of my favorite horror movies, and it's not even really much of and it's not a horror movie, really, arguably. But I'd beg to differ because that movie, I mean, it makes you have this sense of dread, because I mean, listen, say what you want about dropping the bomb, but it was wartime, and keep in mind we had to drop 2 bombs on them, and that movie almost makes you feel guilty for dropping the bomb, because my favorite scene in that movie is where it is the mom and the little girl holding her daughter, who's probably about 9 years old, and keep in mind this is 1954. The bomb was dropped in 1945, so she probably never knew her daddy. But here's this monster coming, and they're looking. The shot is they're literally looking up into heaven, saying, "We're going to go see Daddy again." And it's like
that was dark.
How dark can you get? And then the girls singing the prayer for peace. Oh my gosh. It's probably one of the darkest movies ever made, and so I'm gonna have to go with Godzilla.
Okay, let me think. Do you think The Lion King is one of the greatest movies ever made?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's a great story. It's a great story. I mean, even though it's Hamlet, but Hamlet's a great play, so why not do it?
Well, and Lion King also is said to take some stuff from the book of Exodus, from the Bible, and I believe something else as well, but
Kimba a little bit. I guess a little bit of Exodus. So a little bit, but more so Hamlet. I mean,
Oh, definitely.
because well, Exodus is brother versus brother, Moses and Ramses, and I mean a little bit, but like that story, brother versus brother, they've been doing that for years, um, and even I mean they've even done it with horror movies, siblings versus siblings, and then they decanonize it, but
Like in Halloween.
right, but which
Yeah, so that's a question. Do you feel like they made the right move to decanonize Michael being Laurie's sibling?
I think it was the wrong move because it makes Michael, to me, at least more scary because it is a brother's job, an older brother's job to protect his siblings, and even, and it's also kind of the job of a I'm old fashioned in this way. I guess it's the job of a man to sit there and protect his family and everything. And then you do something unimaginable at 6 years old and murder your sister, and then you want to go after your sister now, who's sort of supposed to be 17, 18.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but I think Michael Myers is scarier when like anybody could be his next victim, and regardless if they're family or not. And that's what made him so scary in the original movie, was that he was a force of nature, and he would kill you simply because you were there.
Well, he was still kind of a force of nature in the other movies too.
He was, but more so in the original movie. And
Yeah,
this is where you and I disagree, but I actually like the fact they decanonize that.
yeah. I mean, that's fine. And yeah, Eric, you're so fired because we had a difference of opinion.
Oh gosh, the world's coming to an end.
Yeah, I'm gonna launch the nukes now. All right.
Excuse me. My next question. Let me think. Are you a fan of Jurassic Park?
Yes. It's probably one of Spielberg's, arguably one of Spielberg's best movies. But it's an amazing movie, and honestly an even greater book. And I overall like Jurassic Park. Honestly, it's probably. I mean, it's kind of. It was one of those movies that it was impactful, but it also had that sense of fun.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
So, and Laura Dern in that movie, dang.
Right. Oh, and what's interesting, Carnosaur came out the same year, which is often considered to be a Jurassic Park ripoff.
And then her mother is in the.
Right. Exactly. I was just about to say that.
Oh, we complete each other's sandwiches.
So, have you seen Carnosaur?
I have.
You don't sound too enthusiastic.
It's one of those movies that, like, I like it, but I think it could actually be beneficial for, like, a remake. Honestly.
I do too, especially have it be more faithful to the book, because I heard the Roger Corman movie is pretty different from the book.
Yeah, I would say, honestly, that would be a movie that, like, I would honestly love to see them remake. And then they made, like, how many Carnosaur movies are there? There's like 7 of them or something?
Well, there's 3 of them. There's a few unofficial movies. Like, there's a movie called Raptor, which uses footage from the Carnosaur movies, but...
Okay, so there's 3 official ones, but then there's like 2 or 3 of them that use footage, right?
Yeah, which are unofficial.
Hmm.
So yeah, Carnosaur, I agree. That movie's not very good.
Well, I respect it for its budget because they actually did make a fairly decent movie. But like looking back, like honestly, we need. Okay, I would say this: we need other dinosaur franchises besides Jurassic Park.
I agree. I've been saying that for years, and they tried doing that with 65, but 65 didn't do that very well.
Probably because you casted Adam Driver. Which I'm going to say this: he is a good actor in independent films, but the problem is he keeps on picking for his like mainstream projects. He keeps picking bad projects. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not talking about his independent work. I'm talking, things that actually go to theater. He's
Like
picking
65.
like 65, Star Wars. For the thing that the main public knows him for, Adam Driver is picking horrible projects. It's like, Adam Driver, maybe you need to fire your agent,
I mean, I can see why he would want to do Star Wars, because if you're to do Star Wars, it pretty much is guaranteed. It's pretty much guaranteed the like to give him fame.
Yeah. So, I mean, do Chronosaur, do Dino Crisis into a movie.
Yeah, a Dino Crisis movie. That would be awesome.
Yeah, so we need other franchises besides
Jurassic Park. I do agree. I've been saying that for years. We need other dinosaur franchises besides that.
Hey, that's one of the reasons why I would love to do. I'm working on it as a studio with no money, but I would love to get the rights to Edgar Rice Burroughs stuff because he made Land that Time Forgot, and even stuff like that. I mean, one of the things I just tell Hollywood to do: remake The Lost World by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle into a movie.
Yeah, I've been saying that for years, which they can do because the book, even the silent movie, are in the public domain.
Right, and the other thing about it is there's book sequels to it. So
I'm not surprised. It's because it is in the public domain.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was more books with Professor Challenger. So, all right.
What horror movie do you feel like has the best music?
I'm going to say one that probably a lot of people won't talk about, honestly, what they talk about, but not so the music. The 1925 Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, I was not expecting that. I was expecting you to say Halloween.
I mean, yeah, well, everybody would pick. But, I think I'm more just like, I was listening to that soundtrack recently, and I'm like, damn, this is one of the most freakiest soundtracks ever, And it's because mainly synthesizers didn't exist now. Synthesizers definitely added a lot to music, but like, there's something about a slowed down orchestral score making music to scare you, that just adds something that synthesizers can't do. I don't really know how much to explain it. Just it adds something, that it factor. So.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, a lot of horror movies have great scores, like Psycho, Saw, Nightmare on Elm Street. But I think it's a no-brainer. I think I'm gonna go with Halloween.
I will say this though. I think one of the most smart. I'm going to say this, and I'm not saying my favorite or influential or anything like that, but I'm going to say probably the smartest score for any horror movie was And I know, I know, Harry Mancini. It's supposed to be, but come on. I mean, it came out as because you can put that with any music, and it will always sound scary.
Yep.
So I'm gonna say that's part of the smartest score.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right.
But yeah, let me think. How do you feel about Terrifier 3 being announced to be a Christmas-themed horror film?
Huh. I mean, hey, I actually enjoyed the Terrifier movies. They were very brutal,
Right.
but I'll say that I like them a lot better than a lot of the Saw movies and Hostel, and Saw just seemed brutal to me for the sake of brutal, I guess, if that makes sense. And so did Hostel, but like, I don't know how to put this. Like, Terrifier just seemed like a throwback to slasher movies, but done more so in the vein of the movies like that. But it had more of a slasher movie feel to me. And Art the Clown is kind of creepy. He's creepily funny, you know.
Uh-huh.
And hey, if they want to do a Christmas movie, I kind of like that idea, you know, because it kind of breaks the mold, you know, like, oh, it takes place on Halloween again, you know. So
Yeah, and that's what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be another Halloween movie, but nope.
next time they're gonna Terrifier 4 is gonna be a Thanksgiving movie.
Or maybe it could be a New Year's movie, or heck, will be interesting if it's a Valentine's Day one.
That would be funny. Easter.
Oh my god, if it was an Easter movie.
Yeah, or they could do 4th of July. Have Art kill people with fireworks.
Maybe. Yeah, those are the big holidays, so.
Yeah, you know what I want to see? I want to see a May Day horror movie. Does anybody celebrate that anymore? May Day?
I don't know, but
all right. All right. Well, I think you got to leave soon because we've been doing it for about 48 minutes. So,
so there's one more question. Did you watch the original Money Tree episode when that first aired on my channel?
Probably not when it first premiered, but I do remember watching it. You know, around.
What were your thoughts on it when you first watched it?
I mean, to be fair, that was like 15 years ago. I mean, I always liked all of your stuff when it first, you know, because you always just funny. And
so were you caught off guard, like, by how I wanted people to think that I was gonna grow the money tree, but then at the end, there was like this big old twist. Like, instead of me growing the money tree, I become it.
I mean, I was kind of expecting somewhat of a story because at that time with YouTube, you know, there was always those YouTubers that kind of created a story around their properties or, you know, their gimmick, nonetheless, lack of a better word. So I was kind of expecting some sort of twist, but like you becoming a money tree, not really expecting that. I think a main question was I was wondering if you borrowed the money from your parents or something like that, or you just had it.
I had it.
Yeah. Well, at least you had money and you didn't have to borrow the money from your
Right.
parents. So yeah. But did you? Anyway, we would like. But I'll wrap this up here because Eric has to leave. But I would like to also plug Grande's Graveyard for making the short film Down by the Bay. I'm not sure if Eric watched it yet, but it's you, Grande. It's a very great film. For your first little short horror movie, very Friday the 13th esque. I really enjoyed it, and good luck. And hey, we would love to have you on. This web show promoting your film. Eric, did you get a chance to see it yet? I know you've just been really busy with life and everything else. So
Yeah, so I'm going to be in a play. It's The Tempest by William Shakespeare, which is ironic because we were just talking about Lion King, and Lion King clearly is based off of Hamlet by William Shakespeare. And
are you
yeah,
filming?
I'm filming the third Pissed Off movie, and Ethan, who plays one of the bad guys in the third movie, I filmed a scene for his movie, but I have to refilm my scene because of that goddamn wind. Expect more episodes of Let's Watch a Movie, and that's pretty much it.
Did you get a chance to see Grande's Graveyard's film yet, or
not yet?
Okay, well, hey, I'm going to give Eric some homework for next week's episode. We will discuss. I'm not sure. I have a guy who I'm possibly talking to interview another YouTuber. But I will let Eric know. Eric, I'll give you that as homework. You can review Grande Graveyard's film. He has the link, folks. Just Eric is busy. And but Grande, we're welcome to be on here. If you need to, you can message Eric on his social media. I mean, Eric, you pretty much have all of them, right?
I think so.
I mean, you have you have Twitter. You have Twitter, MySpace, Instagram, Facebook. Let's see. I don't think you have an OnlyFans yet, right?
No.
Which, by the way, subscribe to Eric's OnlyFans.
All right, man. I seriously have to get going.
All right. So there you. All right. So see you guys, and enjoy the movie, Eric. All right. See you guys.